I'm going to take you all back in time to 1978 when I was 16 years old. And my surfer boyfriend at the time was this boy named Tim. I was actually seeing somebody else. And when I met Tim, I abruptly dumped whoever I was seeing for the better offer. So we spent 6 months of just having a blast together. He would teach me how to surf. We played volleyball down at the beach and indoors. We had all the same interests and hobbies and liked to do the same things. His mom was a single mom who I rarely saw. And my mom was a stickler for having dinner on the table at 5 o'clock. So we'd have dinner at my house every night. He pretty much lived at my house. And his friend was this guy, Pete. So the three of us would do things together all the time. Being a tomboy, I missed basic training in the women department, not realizing that guys want to hang out with their buddies and then be with their girlfriends. One day, Tim abruptly dumped me for another girl who was nothing like me. She was really pretty. My impression of their relationship was that he'd go surfing and she'd hold the towel when he came out of the water and tell him what his study was. And absolutely no hard feelings. I'd see him throughout the years. We'd always be happy to see each other. But the life lessons I learned from that, one of my first relationships, was if you dump somebody for somebody else, you'll probably be dumped in the same manner. And the other life lesson from that was I needed to dial it back and be more of a woman and not be one of the buddies. It's something that I always struggled with when I was single, because I want to do the same thing. I want to be in the game. So sadly, a couple years ago, Tim passed away. And I thought I would go down. What they do for surfers in my hometown is do a paddle out. And I thought I would represent the 16-year-old Tim. So I went down to my hometown and parked at my old grade school and walked down, and the waves were huge. I still surf in Mexico in 80-degree water with 2-foot waves. But these people still live down there. So to them, this is a day in the life. And I didn't want to look like a wimp and not go out. So while everybody was at the beach doing the memorial on the beach, I was checking out where I was going to go. And with waves, there's a lull, and then the set comes in. So I was watching for that. Everybody started, grabbed their boards, ran into the water, and I went south a little bit and waited for the lull and then started paddling. Well, sure enough, the set comes in, and I make it over the first couple waves, and the last wave, I'm vertical, and it's breaking, and I'm just jamming, and I'm on a 9-foot board, so this is like at least a 10-foot wave. I'm going through and trying to break through the top, and it could go either way. It takes you over the falls backwards, or I could punch through, and I used all my might and punched through and went down the other side and made it out to the boat. So they put Tim's ashes in the water with us, and I was so glad I had gone down, because here we were all in the water again, like we were when we were 15 years or 16 years old for the first time. And in beach culture, probably any culture, these were his lifelong friends. And for me to move on, I had to move down a couple of beaches. So I hadn't been in the water with this group of people for that long, almost 40 years. I was probably the last one that paddled back in, and I was coming in, and I was just holding on. I didn't surf it. I just held onto my board and rolled up on the shore, like rolled up, with my hair and my snot and the and the seaweed all over me. Just no shame rolling up on the beach. Dragged my board back up, and Tim's widowed girlfriend says, "Oh my God, Heller, you are a total stud." She said, "People didn't make it out past the break." So I had no idea that people didn't make it out there. And my thought was a little bit like, how ironic that the reason why he broke up with me is the same thing that got me out there. Then I was reflecting later, the weeks following, and a little self-absorbed, I know, but I'd like to think that I was wrong in those messages. The first one was probably right. You don't dump somebody unless you want to be dumped in the same way. But the second one wasn't that I should have taken it back. He never got married, he never had kids, and I truly feel like his last gift to me was pushing me through that wave and saying, you're okay the way you are. Be the girl who pushes through the wave. And we were just not meant for each other. So I got one last gift out of that and one last lesson out of it, and I thank him for that thought, and I thank you guys for listening.
Helen, what a beautiful story. Just take a minute to write Helen the thoughts. My daughter to read.
I want a copy too.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Same.
Kate, are you ready? Can you give us a timer's report on the speakers?
Oh, sure, yes. James was within the allotted amount of time at 6:05. And Heller, I'm sorry to say I was so engrossed in your story that I forgot to give you the signals, but you were 6:20, well within the time also. So.
There you go.
That's fantastic. Please vote for the best speakers. Both are eligible. And cast your vote to lead.